let's quit. Hold on. I want to switch this conversation to talk about the quarterbacks in college because I've been starting to educate myself. I know about Trevor Lawrence. He's not an option. I know about they're not gonna get there.
Justin Fields probably isn't too.
Yeah, and I'm not that into Justin Fields, but I haven't watched a ton of him. I think I just don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. The way I look at Ohio State quarterbacks is they're throwing to NFL wide receivers. They're handing off to NFL running backs. They're protected by NFL offensive linemen, and the scheme is like tic-tac-toe. I mean, if Zach Wilson is playing chess at BYU, Justin Fields is playing checkers at Ohio State. It's like fast break basketball. The decision making is very dumbed down and simplified. So I don't trust those guys. Although he's a good athlete, Trey Lance, everyone likes him from North Dakota State. The dude's played like 13 games in college and shut himself down. I like the guy in BYU. If you put him up against Trey Lance, at least this guy has 3 seasons of a track record. His skill set's good. He's got a strong arm. He's accurate. He can move. I don't know how high he's going to go in the draft, but that's the guy I'm interested in.
If you see those traits, like he's going to go in the top 10 picks. Like
that's what I'm thinking, right? He's going to go in the top 10.
Or in 2018, which was the historic quarterback class, when it turned out that none of the prospects were as good as 2019, 2017, or 2020.
Right.
But they all went in the top 10. So,
right.
And then Lamar Jackson, I think a lot of Lamar Jackson's fall had to do with the fact that his mom was his manager, and he allegedly didn't interview well in the process, and he didn't seem prepared because people, and then the NFL is so traditional. They probably thought he was a little unprofessional because he didn't have a legit manager and it was his mom and he did things his own way. But whatever, the guy ended up as a great player in the right situation. So that's why I think he fell. I just don't think that that type of guy is going to fall to where the Niners are likely going to be picking. Because Jimmy or not, they have two coaches that are going to ensure that they win between 8 and 10 games at the minimum. So,
yeah. I mean, if you compare him to Josh Allen coming out of college, they both played at small schools. They both played questionable competition. Zach, what's his name? Zach Wilson is more accurate.
But one guy might be the biggest freak to come out in the draft since Cam Newton.
Josh Allen.
That big, that fast, that big of an arm.
That inaccurate, yeah. Yes.
Hey, you take inaccuracies when the guy can run like that.
I would rather have a guy who can run and be accurate, which is like Cam is cool.
Kyler Murray, he's going 1. Deshaun Watson, who somehow fell to 12.
Yeah.
Never made sense to me. Sean, my man, how many winning seasons has Matthew Stafford had? Look, I would say that that's a lot to do with the organization that he's a part of. How many winning seasons have the Detroit Lions had?
Yeah, right.
How many seasons has he had competent coaching? Like Jim Caldwell was pretty good, but how many seasons has he played with an offensive play caller that best utilizes his skill set? Like Darrell Bevell was run out of Seattle.
Zero times. Zero times.
Right. He was run out.
Never had a run game.
Jim Bob Cooter. Anybody want Jim Bob Cooter?
He was there for a while.
Right. And okay, yeah, he's had decent weapons, but having Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford is not enough to make the playoffs. The guy literally makes things happen. Like the reason the Detroit Lions, when he plays a full season, which I know he's had injury issues, the reason that they're always between that 6 to 8, 10 win range and they're kind of choking right before the playoffs and stuff is because they have Matthew Stafford. There's no other reason. And
They'd be awful without him, and they have no run game. He has to do everything on his own.
Right, and they've never had an elite offensive line. So when we're talking physical talent with Matthew Stafford and you just isolate skill sets, like that amount of physical talent, it's as good as Mahomes, Rodgers, any of them.
Look what Shanahan did with Matt Ryan. Now compare that physical skill set to Matthew Stafford's. There's no comparison.
Right,
There's no comparison.
Matthew Stafford is stupid. He's not maybe as smart as Matt Ryan, but he's also very intelligent. He seems to understand the game. He seems to do a good job. Maybe the decision-making can be iffy here and there, but I would argue that a lot of that has to do with the fact that he knows he has to make ridiculous throws every game for them to even have a chance.
Also, Jimmy's decision-making is an issue.
Right.
So, it's not like he's going to be worse.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be way better. Like, there's throws that he can make that very few quarterbacks can make. And that makes it a lot easier for a guy like Shanahan. Because if Matthew Stafford, if you make it clear for him that this guy's going to be open, he sees it, he's ripping it.
No, the only question I have with Matt Stafford, his
Injury?
fit on the Niners, is price tag. That's it. I love his fit. I love his skill set. I can totally picture what he would do on this offense with Kyle Shanahan. It'd be disgusting. But again, I'm not in favor of spending exorbitant amounts of money on quarterbacks. Once you bring that guy in, you're spending 17% on him, then you lose guys you want to keep. And I don't like making those trades. I think there's an abundance of good quarterbacks out there who are on the scrap heap. Give me one. And let's win. Let's keep that defense intact. Let's keep that offensive line intact.
I think going cheap would be ideal, but if you can convince me that we can get the next Patrick Mahomes, the next Deshaun Watson, the next Lamar Jackson in the draft for cheap, then that would be the thing. I'm not so sure you can do that every
True. It's just an interesting year because it looks like there are 4 or 5 guys who will be first-round picks. 4 or 5 guys who have serious talent. I mean, we haven't even talked about the guy from Florida you like so much.
Kyle Trask. I think
Apparently that he's got a tight end there that's great.
That guy is something else. That guy.
I was talking to a coach and I was like, what do you think of that quarterback from Florida? He's like, you mean the tight end? I was like, no, the quarterback. He's like, no, you mean the tight end. You mean the tight end.
The quarterback he's a solid player. He's a big guy. He's good. But the tight end is future NFL superstar. Hey, one more real quick thing though with the quarterback. I feel like they're coming out like that every year now. And they're coming out like that every year, and a few of them are good, a few of them are bad. But I really think it's going to be a down year this year for quarterbacks because right now, when you look back at the most recent 2020 first round, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are already playing like top 15, 16 quarterbacks, and they didn't have an offseason. They had all of this stuff going on. They're totally new to this NFL thing, and it was so different for both of them, and they're playing like that. And not to mention, a lot of experts thought Tua was the best player out of all three, and he's yet to play a snap. Now, I disagree with them. I really do. I don't think he's as good as Burrow or Herbert. But they know they are the experts. I'm just a guy who's doing
4 different NFL wide receivers he was throwing to.
Yeah.
And 3 different NFL – no.
Right. But anyway, the point is when I'm a guy who doesn't believe that, I just don't think that you can have a trend like that. So I'm a little superstitious that way, where when I see the 3 from last year doing great or 2 from last year doing like that, I just think that the next year is going to be the kind of down year where guys
better be careful. That's what I'm saying. The Niners, I think Kyle Shanahan probably like fantasizes about getting a new quarterback because of course he wants to have his Steve Young, his John Elway, like his dad did. I mean, who wouldn't want to coach a great quarterback like that? And Jimmy isn't that yet. But if you get rid of him, you better know what you got coming in because you lost a lot of games without that kid.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. But I also don't want to hear I want my Steve Young, I want my John Elway. You had your chance to get your guys in 2017, and then last year, the greatest quarterback ever, who's maybe only going to be this for 1 more year, maybe 2 more years, who knows? But he's still got a better arm than Jimmy right now, and he knocked on your door. He knocked on your door, and you said no. So there's no excuses for you, Kyle. You can't complain about Jimmy.
That is the ultimate point. Let's remember that Kyle has no leg to stand on here. He didn't have to have Jimmy. He could have had Patrick Mahomes. He could have had Deshaun Watson. He could have had Tom Brady. And every time Kyle Shanahan said, he balked. So right now it's basically like idle whining privately behind closed doors is what we're sensing. But it's not fair. That's your guy. You had your chance. Make it work because Jimmy's making it work.
Right.
And Kyle's making it work too. To be fair, I mean,
he's making it work. He's just
making it work.
There's just seems to be a negative Jimmy report every other week to go with making it work. So
like Kyle, everyone knows that Jimmy's struggling and you're doing a great job. We know it's all you, buddy, but stick with Jimmy because you don't know what could happen without him. I mean, do you really trust Zach Wilson? How much do you know Zach Wilson? How much do you know Zach Wilson?
You don't.
You know, like guy's playing at BYU. He's going to come in next year and tear it up. Maybe not. Or Jameis Winston.
Sometimes it takes years too. Like Steve Young didn't work in Tampa, so who knows?
That's right.